Hello, hello, hello again, Kinder. Okay, we are ready. Hello, how are you? Are you ready for the science class? I have a surprise for you today. I hope you're ready. Let's wait. Who's here? Juan Esteban, good morning. Welcome. Very good. Who else is here? Joaquin, I'm sorry I didn't say hello in the English class. Hello, Joaquin. How are you? Who else is here? Okay. So let's begin. Felipe, welcome. Very nice to see you here. Hello, Felipe. Very good. Pipe, good morning. Hello, Mari. Good morning. Very good. Okie dokie. Very good. Alejito, hello. Hello, Antonella. How are you? Hello, hello. Very good. Okay, chiquis. Hello, Juanita. Hello, Maria Camila. Thank you for the dear teacher. Thank you. Hello, Thomas. How are you? Hello, Samuel. Hello, Camila. Hello, Maria Jose. Woo, wow. And hello, Joaquin again. I'm sorry. Hello, hello, everyone. Okay, today we are going to continue talking about the different materials. Hello, Carlitos. Hello, hello. Very good. Do you remember that the last class we were talking about different materials? Hello, Martin Perez. Hello, hello. Very good. We were talking about different materials and we find out that there are some objects that are made out of wood, some are made of plastic, some are made of paper, some are made of metal, and some are made of glass, and some others are made of fabric. We use as an example the pencils are made of wood. Also, water bottles are made of plastic and some toys also are made of plastic. The books are made of paper. The magazines is always some boxes are made of hard cardboard that is made of paper. And do you remember that paper comes from wood, right? Very good. We have metal, spoons, forks, and knives are made of metal. Glass, we have something like this that is made of glass. The glasses are made of glass. Hello, Martin Ruiz, welcome. And finally, the fabric, like the shirts, like the sweaters, like the jackets that we use, the pants are made of fabric, right? Very good. So today we are going to talk about one main characteristics of materials. Some of them can float or some sink. What is to float? To float means that they can stay over the surface of the water. And some others sink. They go to the bottom of the water. Some stays over the surface of the water and some others go to the bottom of the water. That means to float is to remain over the surface, and to sink, they go to the bottom. So we are going to see what objects, what materials can float, and what materials sink, and what materials sink. Okay, very good. First of all, we are going to talk about the materials, the different objects. For example, all the objects that we know are made of molecules. For example, let's make, let's make here the spoon. The spoon, like the one I used the last class. Remember the spoon that is made of metal? It's very shiny. It is hard. It's made of metal. Let's draw the spoon here. I'm going to draw it, and you are just going to watch me, okay? You are not going to do anything in your notebook so far. So here we have our spoon. Okay. This spoon is made of metal, and that metal is formed with molecules, tiny, tiny, tiny molecules that we cannot see by eyes, but just using the microscope, okay? So those molecules, when it is a hard object or a heavy object, are tightly packed, are next to each other very, very tightly. They are next to each other very, very tightly. Right? Those are very tiny, tiny molecules that make the object. Hello, Juan Jesus. Right? Those are molecules. And in the case of a metal, they are very, very tightly next to each other, right? But in some others, like paper, for example, let's make a piece of paper. A piece of paper is lightly, it's not that heavy as metal. So the molecules are not tightly packed. They are loosely packed. That means that molecules are not next to each other so tightly. Molecules are like this. In heavy materials, in hard materials, molecules are tightly packed, are very close to each other. But in light materials, molecules are loosely packed. There are many spaces between them. That's why some objects are heavy, like the spoon. This is heavy, is hard, right? Is hard. And some others, like a piece of paper, are light, are not hard. This is not hard. It's flexible because of the molecules. Okay? So today we are going to play with some objects that we have here, that I have here, and we are going to experiment and to see if they can float, if they remain here, or if they sink, if they are too heavy and sink. Okay? So let's begin. In a piece of paper or in your notebook, in your Cuadritos notebook, we are going to make a chart. Let me explain. Take your Cuadritos notebook or any piece of paper. You can take one single piece of paper or your Cuadritos notebook. And here, as we used to do, we are going to write a title. We are going to write float or sink. Float or sink. So using your pencil or any color, you are going to write float or sink in your notebook or in a piece of paper. So let's begin with float. F, capital letter F. L. O. A. T. Float. Or a different word, we are going to let a little space here. O. Little space here. R. A little space here. And the word sink. Sink. S. I. N. K. And we are going to check and we're going to write if the object that we are working with is going to float or is going to sink. Okay? So let's begin with, here we are going to make a little dot for the first material. And let's say that we are going to begin with metal, metal. So we are going to write the word metal. M, capital letter M. E. T. A. L. Okay. And two little dots here. And let's see what happened with metal when we put it in the water. Okay? Ready? So let's begin. I have here three different metal objects. I have a big spoon, a small spoon, and this cap from a box. Remember the tea box? This is metal too. So let's see what happened with these materials when we put them in the water. I'm going to move. Okay, for you to see. Okay, very good. So let's begin with the big spoon. What do you think? The spoon is going to float or is going to sink? What do you think? It is heavy. So let's do the try. Ready? Okay, I'm going to put it here. 1, 2, 3. What happened with the spoon? It sinks. The spoon went to the bottom of the water. Look, it is right here. It does not float. Look again. It goes to the bottom of the water. Okay, let's continue. I'm going to need a towel. Okay, what about the small spoon? It is smaller. Do you think it is going to float or it is going to sink? It's a spoon made of metal, but it's smaller than the one we used before. What do you think? It's going to float or is going to sink? Let's see. Are you ready? So I'm going to put the small spoon in the water. Let's see, 1, 2, and 3. it also sinks. Sinks, look, here is the little spoon. It sinks. Okay. Let's try with the next. Very good, Felipe. It sinks. This one is made of metal too, but it has a different shape and is maybe a lighter metal. So let's try. Are you ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Can you see? It floats. Look, it is right here. Even though it is made of metal, the shape helped the metal to float, and it is a lighter metal than the one from the spoon. So that's why boats, big boats, can float. They are made of metal, but the shape and the type of metal help them float. Look. I'm going to take a towel. Sorry. Peep. Ready. So, in our notebooks, we are going to write both. It floats and it also sinks. It depends on the type of metal and it depends on the shape. This one helps the metal to float, and the spoon is heavier, is more heavy, and the shape doesn't help it to float. Right? Okay. So, take your notebooks. I'm going to dry my hand, and we are going to write both float and sink. Both. Okay, let's write it here. B, in front of the word metal, we are going to write both, float and sink. O, T, H, both. Okay, it floats and also it sinks, both. Both. The two of them, okay? Float and sink. Okay, let's continue with the next material. Let's try it with the fabric, okay? So I have here 2 pieces of fabric. I have one sock here, a small sock, and I have a piece of fabric that I use to clean my glasses. Look. So I have 2 types of fabric. I'm going to take the metal out of the water. And let's try with fabric. Okay, what do you think? Fabric is a very soft, light material. Okay, what do you think is going to happen? This is going to float or it is going to sink. Let's see what happened. Ready? Okay. 1, 2, and 3. What happened with the sock? It is floating. Look, it is floating over the water. Let's try with the other piece of fabric. Okay, ready? Let's move the sock here and put the other piece of fabric. It also floats, look. They are floating over the water. Excellent, very good. Let's see if there are some changes. Oh, look! What happened? When it is too wet, look, the sock also sink. When it is too wet, when it has too many water, it is heavier and it sinks. You see, look, now the sock is at the bottom of the water and also the other piece of fabric. So at the beginning, when they are dry, they float. But when they get too much water, they get heavier and they sink. So we can say that fabric at the beginning floats, but then it sinks because absorbs the water and gets heavier and goes to the bottom. So in your notebook, we are going to write the next result. So we have fabric, 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 F, A, B, R, I, C, fabric. So we can say that fabric also have both characteristics. It can float when it gets to the water. It floats when it's dry, but then when it gets wet, it sinks. So both. The same word as in the top, both. Okay, very good. Let's continue. Very good. So let's continue. I'm going to take out the sock. You see it has a lot of water. That's why it is that heavy. And I'm going to take out the piece of fabric. Okay, very good. Here. And let's continue. So we already did it with metal and fabric. Let's try with plastic. I brought here some plastic objects to see the difference. I brought a Lego car. I brought a plastic spoon. I brought a plastic cup for medicines and another plastic cup. Okay, so they have different shapes, different weights. So let's see what happened. Let's begin with the spoon. This is a plastic spoon. What do you think? It is going to float or is going to sink? Let's see what happened. Ready? It is floating. It floats. Look. The spoon is floating. Let's see if something else happened. No, it's floating. Okay. So let's try it with this little cup. It is also made of plastic. What do you think is going to happen? It is going to float or is going to sink? Let's see what happened. Let's move the spoon. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What happened? It is floating also. Look. It floats. Can you see? It is floating. Great. Okay. What about the Lego car? This is a little bit heavier. This is heavier, right? What do you think? It is going to float or is going to sink? Let's see. Ready? Is floating. Very good. The Lego car is floating. Great. And let's try with the last one. It's a big cup. Ready? It floats. Very good. None of the plastic objects sink. All the objects, the cap, the Lego car, the plastic cup for medicines, and the spoon, look, they all float. Great, look, they are all here. So we can say that plastic floats. So take your notebook or your piece of paper and let's write the next conclusion. Let's write the other word, plastic. I'm sorry. So we are going to write plastic. We begin with capital letter P, L, A, S, T, I, C, plastic. And what happened with plastic? It float. So we are going to write the word float. We begin with the letter F, letter L, letter O, letter A, and letter T. Float. The plastic floats. Okay? Float. Okay, let's do the last experiment, the last one. Let's try and let's see what happened with paper. Okay, let's take the plastic out. And let's try with paper. What do you think? What is going to happen with paper? I have a small piece of paper, regular paper, and I have a piece of cardboard. I have these two paper objects. This is a piece of cardboard from a box. It's heavier, and I have this little piece of paper. Let's see what happened with those. Let's begin with the regular piece of paper. It is floating, look, floats. And let's see what happened with the cardboard. It is heavier. Let's see if it floats too. It also floats, look, both are floating. Nothing else happens. So paper, as it is lighter than metal or than glass, it floats. It floats. Look, they are floating. So in our notebook, let's write what happened with the paper. So you're going to write paper, capital letter P, letter A, letter P again, lowercase, letter E, and letter R. Paper. What happened with paper? It float. Letter F, letter L, letter O, letter A, and letter T. Float. Okay, as time is over and we couldn't experiment, we couldn't check what happened with glass and with wood. We have two materials missing. We are going to do it on the next class. So let this space empty. We will finish on the next class. We were going to check if wood and glass float or sink, and I'm going to teach you how to make a very nice activity, okay? So we are going to stop here. I hope you enjoyed the activity. See you very soon. See you tomorrow. A lot of kisses. Love you very much. Bye-bye, sweeties. Bye. See you later.